All right. So after literally years of thinking about doing this and being encouraged to do it and staying away from it for some reason, I finally started a Patreon page. And so welcome to my brand new Patreon page. If you're looking at this at Patreon, and if you're looking at this at YouTube, I'm letting you know that I have a brand new Patreon page. And I've been staying away from this for a while for some reason. I can't even really tell you exactly why, but it just hasn't felt right until recently. And actually, even specifically today, it felt absolutely right. And so I went over there, I set up the page real quick. I didn't do anything crazy. I just kept it really simple. And I decided to put it up there because to make this as succinct as possible, I guess that I wanted to make sure that I had my own house in order before I asked people to come support me in this kind of way. Like, I've done fundraisers for specific projects before. You know, I've done GoFundMes and Kickstarters and stuff like that, and they've been very successful. But to ask somebody to subscribe to me monthly, as they would with like Netflix or HBO or something like that, I don't know, it just hit differently for me. It was like there was something different about it. And I guess I couldn't work it out in my brain. And I finally figured it out, and I thought, a huge part of my practice as an artist is my activism, my disruptive work, my work that makes a lot of people kind of feel put off by my work, feel uncomfortable. It feels kind of like stuff that they don't want to talk about or they don't want to deal with, like racism and anti-Semitism and misogyny and xenophobia and all this stuff, I talk about that all the time. And I think I've learned over the years to take that and put it inside of a beautiful story with like characters that you probably fall in love with and create this wonderful journey that people can follow while kind of planting seeds to get people to think, and to pay attention to all this stuff that's going on in the world. And it just, I guess over the last couple of weeks, I've been really feeling like, what can I do to contribute to this world right now? With everything happening over in Israel and Gaza, with things happening in Syria now, with what just happened up in Maine, with what happened at the Speaker of the House. I mean, I just thought to myself, what can I do to contribute? We're so divided. There's so much hate. There's murder going on. There's people suffering everywhere. Climate change, like there's so much stuff going on. And I have always been one to really, truly believe that artists, more than anybody, can really make a tangible contribution to people kind of activating themselves to really get involved in change or maybe to really care, to feel their empathy, like truly feel their empathy through art. I think more than teachers, more than politicians for sure, more than political, more than news people, more than anybody. I think that artists have the ability to do that, to make you think about what's going on with people other than yourself and feel that and empathize with it and have compassion and really understand, kind of put yourself in their shoes. And so I just thought, you know what? I even have people in my life who, my personal life, who don't want to deal with me because all I talk about is racism and anti-Semitism and misogyny, all this. Like, that's all I talk about. And it's kind of true. I mean, it's not all I talk about, I mean, I'm a sports fan. I could be funny. I'm like a regular person. But yeah, I'm preoccupied with oppression, with prejudice, with all the horrible things. I talk about that all the time because I think it's important, and also because I wear my privilege on my sleeve. Like, I understand that I am a white male who lives in this world completely differently than most of my close friends who are people of color or women. And so I feel it's my actual responsibility to talk about it. And if it loses me friends, I don't care. You know, it's who I am. I've been like this since I was a little boy. That's not going to change. And I'm proud. You know, the reason I left the music business to get into the theater world originally, and now a filmmaker, is because I felt like I couldn't really express myself in the way that I really wanted to in terms of my activism in music. It was looked down upon. You know, people were trying to make me a pop star, or, you know, even if you're just playing jazz, it's like you're not really part of the change. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really do that with your work. Not really. You know, there's not a lot of Gil Scott-Herons and Bob Dylans out there, and there's not a lot of people like that right now. So in theater, I was able to do whatever I want. I write the story. I get to say what goes out there, and if some huge theater or Broadway or something like that doesn't support me, I can do it on other levels and reach a lot of people. And in filmmaking, the same thing. I control the story. I'm the one who dictates what I'm talking about and what I'm dealing with. And so I'm not going to make this a long video, and this is kind of like a podcast or a vlogcast or whatever. I'm not putting any B-roll. This is not a beautiful filmmaking video. This is just me talking to you directly. I'm just saying that I think the best thing about Patreon or any kind of platform where you can support artists is that, in my opinion, you do that with artists who you think should exist in the world, who you think you want to, you know, have a place where you would be happy that your children are growing up in a world where that person is making art, has a voice, you know, is saying something with a platform. You know, if you want that person to exist, if you're happy, if you feel better that that person is doing the work that they're doing, then I think that's a good person for you to put your patron of the arts hat on and support them. And so I thought to myself, you know, that's really what my work has been, you know, whether it be even my personal memoir kind of work about my fostering and my adoption and my search for my identity and all that kind of stuff, and my biological mother and my biological father and all that stuff. It's really about activism and prejudice, and it's about the issues that exist in that world, the inequity of how people are treated in that world, you know. That's what it's really about. So it kind of fits me, and maybe that's why I'm the way I am. I don't know. But, you know, to be quite frank, to me, the most important work that I've ever created had nothing to do with me and my life. It was something called Brooklyn Quartet, and it was really based on the Sean Bell killing in 2006. And if you don't know about that, just Google it. Sean Bell, 2006, Queens, New York, Jamaica. I mean, I just thought, yeah, it's the right time for me to have a Patreon page, because if there are people out there who feel that I should exist, you know, I could use the support. It would really go a long way in me doing the work that I do. Seriously. And so, I don't know. I feel good about it now. I feel fine. You know, I'm not mad at anybody who doesn't want to support in that way, and that's fine. I've gotten incredible support over the years. I'm so grateful. I'm humbled by it, and I'm not mad at anybody who doesn't do that. That's you. That's fine, you know. But if you want to, and if it's something that would be important to you, then I want to give that opportunity. I want to give people access to support me in that way. So if I can't get the usual grants or awards or the major bookings or whatever to keep me going, but if my audience, you know, if the people, just regular people, not the powers that be, not the people who are just trying to make money off of filmmaking and theater, but if the actual people who come to the audience, who buy tickets to see me perform or who watch my movies, if they want to support my daily practice, because this is what I do every day of my life. Now, I have to hustle to make money, but trust me when I tell you, ever since I bought a camera, there has not been one day that I have not shot with this camera, and the camera I had before this, and my phone before that, because I shot a feature film on a phone. I have shot every single day. Same thing with theater. I rehearse every day. I worked every day. I wrote every day for 6 years when I did my first play. I mean, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just telling you, I'm an everyday artist, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This is what I'm thinking about. And my work is all about contributing, making an offering to you, you know, feeling like I'm not just taking up space in this world, you know, feeling like I have some kind of purpose, you know, that somebody else besides me feels that the work I'm doing is meaningful. That makes me feel like my life is one that is well lived. Like I should be here. There was a time when I was young, and I don't want to get into all this too deeply, but I do want to share that, you know, yeah, there was a time in my life where I felt like I was a mistake, you know, like I was born and then I was immediately separated from this person who birthed me, who, you know, had all these problems. And then I lived in 3 foster homes, and then I was finally adopted. And yeah, I felt like I was a mistake. And I kind of grew up feeling like, why am I here? You know, like, does anybody care? Am I just invisible? Like, am I disposable? You know, disposable is a word that I think about a lot. And I have felt those feelings in my life, and my art has given me a feeling of belonging, you know, a feeling of purpose. I'll use that word again. That's what my art has done for me. And it's because I believe in community, and I believe that it ain't all about you. You know what I mean? Like, meaning me. And that's actually what keeps me going. You know, when I remind myself, like, oh, poor you. It ain't about you. Just do the work. You know, you have these gifts that were just given to you. Like, if you're, you know, if you believe in God, you say, oh, God gave me these gifts. But I was given these gifts, these talents, or whatever you want to call them. I want to use them to contribute. I want to use them to, you know, raise the level of humanity, if I can. Now, I'm certainly not one who thinks I can change the world or whatever. I hate when people say that, to be honest with you, because nobody can change the world. I think we all can change the world if we all do our small part, you know, if we all do something that we feel is pushing us all forward, you know, simple things. If we all just contributed to, you know, all the stuff that we need to do for climate change and littering and recycling and all that kind of stuff, you know, I mean, all the things that make a community, that make you realize that, you know, you're not the only person living on this earth, that we're all neighbors, that even if, you know, like what right now, what's going on in Israel and Gaza is like, it's about us too. Innocent people are dying. No matter how you feel about what's happening over there, and I know everybody's taking sides and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, no matter what, I think everybody has to agree, no innocent people, babies, children, women, men, elders, no innocent people should be dying, and they're dying by the thousands. So I'm just saying, artists have a way of taking this and turning it into something beautiful. Like, you don't have to hear it like this. Like, I know a lot of people have left this video already because they're like, oh, geez, you know, they're rolling their eyes, you know, like, oh, there goes rock again. But that's why I often tell people that theater saved my life, and filmmaking, I feel the same way. I was able to take all of this and not have to talk about it all the time in my personal life and turn it into like a beautiful bed of wildflowers, like make beautiful stories, but get this in there so that I can have my contribution and I can offer it to you. So if you feel that I'm the kind of artist who should exist and you want to support somebody like me, if you want to, you know, put some monthly money in like you do to Netflix or Showtime or whatever, Amazon Prime, and if you feel that my work moves you and that you're proud to know that somebody is doing work like I'm doing and you're proud of me, and, you know, if that's the case, then I've given you the opportunity to do that. And if not, I love you anyway. It doesn't matter. It's all good. So welcome to my Patreon. Took me a long time to get here, but I'm happy I got here now, and I'm happy that I waited until I felt good about it, and I do feel good about it, and I am unapologetically here and optimistic and hopeful, and trust me when I tell you that if you do decide to support my daily practice, my art, my work, I will honor that. I will make you proud every single day by giving every ounce of my soul and spirit to this work, as I always have, and taking it very seriously, never taking it for granted, never taking you for granted or anybody for granted, and just waking up every day and doing what I got to do, doing what I'm meant to do, what I was born to do. So thank you very much for listening to this. It was a little bit longer than I had hoped, but that's cool. And if you listen to the whole thing, oh my God, thank you. You honor me with that, and I'm pretty fortunate. So thank you, and my YouTube channel will continue to be more normal after this. But thank you so much, and onward with Patreon. Let's see what happens. Here's to possibilities.